are so excited to have Derek Merrin, and he is running for the U.S. House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, and so big day here at WLMB.
That's exactly right, but he does have a primary to get through on March 19th, so when you go to the polls, do like I'm going to do, make sure you ignore all those other names and check the box for Derek Merrin. It's wonderful to have you here, Derek. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, it's an honor to be here, Jamie, in Virginia. I'm a big fan of the show and appreciate the ministry you guys have had for a very long time in our community. So it's an honor to be here.
Very good, very good. Thank you for those kind words. We're going to get right into it. How did you get involved in public service?
Well, I tell you, I'm a strong physical conservative, and I ran for Waterville City Council and Mayor at a very young age, and ran on a platform of lowering taxes and making sure that no public funds are wasted, and I've carried that on into the state legislature and trying to get our economy the strongest it can be.
We also wanted to ask you to share about your family and your history with the Monclova Baptist Church, because we've had your dad here many times.
That's right.
Well, I'm so blessed. I grew up in a wonderful family. My mom and dad pastored several different churches, and I was in the ministry all my life. And my dad was a pastor of Monclova Road Baptist Church for many years. Unfortunately, my dad passed away a little over a year ago. But I've been so blessed. My parents have spent their entire lives spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, starting Monclova Christian Academy, and just giving back. And I'm just that's who I am. My faith has shaped my worldview, and I'm proud to tell everyone that I'm a believer. Believe in Jesus Christ.
Well, so you graduated from the school your dad founded,
Yes.
Monclova Road Monclova Christian Academy, where you were a basketball star. I know you can't say that yourself, but you were a basketball star. But then you also went to the University of Toledo, and then also went back for your master's degree at Bowling Green State University. So you're a graduate of the two largest educational institutions in Northwest Ohio.
That's true. I also went to Owens Community College. I tell people if I would have hit Lourdes, I would have hit them all. So so yeah, I've been here in Lucas County for 30 years of my life. Proud graduate of UT and BG, and I so much want to see Northwest Ohio succeed and do better. A lot of people are hurting right now with the economy and the open borders that we have, and I want to be the next congressman for Northwest Ohio.
Now, I'm estimating that sometime you got involved in the race on December 20th, but probably sometime in the month of December you received a very important call from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson. I am very curious, I'm sure our viewers are very curious to know what that conversation sounded like.
Well, many people locally have encouraged me to run for a long time, and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, did call me. I actually missed his phone call. He left a voicemail, and I talked to him a couple times. He's told me he's a big Joe Burrow fan. He's from Louisiana, and he said, listen, the House majority is on the line. We think you're a great candidate. You have a great opportunity to beat Marcy Kaptur, and we know your background, and really want you to consider running. This is a really important time in our history. And I had a decision to make. I was gonna, I could sit on the couch, or I was gonna jump in the arena and fight. And we live in the greatest country in the history of the world.
Yes, we do.
And I'm fighting to preserve that for everyone in Northwest Ohio and for the next generation. I mean, we have to fight for our freedoms. We have to fight for our Constitution. We got to fight for a better economy. We have to fight for our laws to be enforced. And we need better representation in Northwest Ohio from our Congresswoman, and she's not getting the job done. So I'm gonna stand on the conservative values that the vast majority of people agree with us on in Northwest Ohio. So
now I happen to be at Reset Rossford for one of your meet and greets. I think we have a photo to share with our viewers from that day just a couple days ago. But one of the things that you mentioned that really struck me was that is very personal to you, is you've done a lot of work with trying to rein in the prices of drugs, prescription drugs. And that was very personal to you because of what your family's story is, particularly related with your dad. I was wondering if you would share that with our viewers with us today.
Yeah, you know, the healthcare costs in this country are just completely out of control. And, you know, you look at prescription drugs, Americans are paying 2 or 3 times more than other industrialized countries. And, you know, my father was diagnosed with leukemia when I was a teenager. He was given like 3 to 4 years to live. Ultimately, you know, our great medical system came out with some new drugs that, you know, extended and saved his life for a long time. But I saw my parents spend thousands of dollars a month out of pocket to pay for the medicine.
Because they really didn't have a choice.
Didn't have a choice, you know. I mean, you're going to write the check, or you're not going to live. And you know, so many people are put in that terrible situation. And you know, I know what it did to my parents financially. I didn't quite know it at the time, but like I look back, and I know it really hurt. And
So as a member of the of the Ohio House of Representatives, of the 42nd District right now, you've been in that position for 4 terms now, but as you're hopefully going to be our next 9th Congressional Congressman, what have you done in this particular area that is particularly of interest to our viewers, but what do you also hope to accomplish if you make it into the U.S. House of Representatives?
Well, that's a great question, Jamie. In the Ohio House and the legislature, we just passed a bill to require hospitals to comply with the federal regulations of price transparency. You're supposed to be able to go into a hospital and see all the prices for x-rays, blood tests, surgeries, and the goal is to be able to shop and compare. Half of the hospital systems in Ohio right now are not in compliance with the law. So we passed a bill that says, listen, if you're not in compliance with the law, you're effectively not going to be able to collect bills from people. And you know, it's disappointing that we've got ourselves in that system. But I think in our healthcare system, we've got to have more price transparency, empower people, and our technology will get the information out there to people. Number 2, we've got to get more providers into the system. We need more physicians, more nurses. We need the medical schools to expand and accept more people. There's a lot of 4.0 graduates from college that can't get into medical school. And we've got to have more residencies, and that will help lower the cost of health care and you know, provide better access and affordability.
Well, we certainly appreciate you advocating, you know, for everyone in that. And, you know, speaking of Marcy Kaptur earlier, what are some differences in each of your campaigns?
Yeah, how would you compare and contrast, you know, what you want to do in Washington, D.C. and, you know, what she has been doing for the last 40 years? And let me point something out. She's been there in office for 40 years. Derek, I think the other night you said you're
38.
You're 38 years old.
Longer than you've been alive.
So yes. How would you compare and contrast what you think you would do in Washington, D.C. as compared to what Marcy Kaptur has done for the last 40 years?
Sure. Number 1, I want the border secured immediately. I mean, we have human traffickers down there, drug dealers. The U.S. military needs to go down there and secure our border. She doesn't care about that. She's fine with millions of illegal immigrants flooding into our country. Number 2, I want a constitutional amendment to require the federal lawmakers to balance the budget. Let me tell you something about politicians, Jamie, because I'm one of them, is you need to put politicians in a box where you limit their ability to do damage. And if they can't balance the budget, we need to force them to balance it. She's been there, she doesn't support it. You know, number 3, I support term limits for members of Congress. We've got to take on the political class of Washington. The Democrats are a problem, but guess what? Some of the Republicans are a problem. A lot of them care more about themselves, their pocketbook, their titles, their career, than doing what is best for the American people. And a lot of them, they need to come home. They need to come home. The good ones and the bad ones. Even if you're good, you know, our founding fathers never wanted people to be staying in Congress for 20 or 30 or even 41 years like Marcy Kaptur.
And I think you mentioned that you did sign a pledge about term limits and also about no increase in taxes. I think you mentioned that Tuesday night. Yes,
I've pledged to sponsor legislation and support to hold members to 3 House terms and 2 Senate terms. I've said I pledge I'm not going to raise federal taxes. You know, when someone's being irresponsible, if you have a child who's running up debt, you don't increase their credit card limit. You take it away, okay? So right. The solution with the federal government is not to give them more money to waste, okay, and to expand their authority and power. And make us all poor. So some people want to raise taxes, and they're not going to use that money to solve the deficit. They're just going to make government bigger. So I'm opposed to raising taxes. We need to make sure no one's taxes are increased. We've got the Trump tax cuts expiring next year, and we need to keep more money in our pockets. And we've got to have fiscal responsibility. The U.S. dollar is being devalued in our country because of the debt.
Yeah, you were actually explaining that in a lot more detail on Tuesday night. Would you kind of explain what it is to have your dollar devalued? I mean, put that in practical terms, because I was stunned when I heard what you had to share.
Yeah, so you got a $100 bill in your hand. Next year that might be worth $96, $92, $89. Americans' life savings are being evaporated and destroyed. I mean, you have people that have worked their entire life, they're 68 years old, and maybe they have $1 million in the bank or in their 401k. Well, next year it might be worth $920,000. I mean, look at the restaurant prices around here, Jamie. You can't take a family of 4 out to Longhorn Steakhouse or Applebee's without spending $100 for a family of 4.
Ridiculous.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay? You cannot go and get, I like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich and fries and a Coke. It's $15. Okay? People can't afford that. You can't, so it's too expensive to live, and that's inflation. That's the devaluation of our dollar. We used to always be able to go out to eat, and it wasn't a big deal. In other countries, it's a luxury. I've been to countries on missions trips where you take folks out to eat. They haven't been to a restaurant for 3 years. But that's never been the case like that in America. But now it's going. You go to the grocery store, you go to Kroger's, you go to Myers. People are having to make hard choices because it's getting tougher to live, and it's because Washington and people that are completely out of touch with reality keep spending money we don't have, and they're devaluing. Not only they're mortgaging our children's future, they're devaluing the money in our pockets right now.
Yeah. Now, I just read, and I think you mentioned on Tuesday night, that really what is the premier nonpartisan political guide out there is the Cook Political Report.
Yes.
And could you share with our viewers, a seismic shift that just happened this past Tuesday in the 9th Congressional District contest?
Yeah, the Cook Report moved this district predicting who is going to win next November. They moved it from a lean Democrat to a true toss-up district, telling the nation and everyone that follows the political races that a Republican can win this, a Democrat can win this, and it's basically a coin toss at this point. A lot of people believe Marcy Kaptur can't be defeated, but she can be. I know what the poll numbers are, and I know that the American people want change. They're fed up with Washington, and Marcy Kaptur may be a nice lady. We appreciate her service. I know a lot of people in Northwest Ohio do, but her policies do not match what the majority of people in this area believe.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you mentioned Tuesday night is that when we do send all this tax money to Washington, D.C., we hope to get some of that money back, but to a large degree, that really hasn't happened for the 9th Congressional District under Marcy Kaptur's leadership. How would you hope to change that? Because I think it's been dismal performance.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is Marcy Kaptur has not made sure that our district has gotten our fair share of federal resources. Listen, I want to reduce spending and balance the budget, but when all this money is being spent, I mean, you might as well get our portion, get some of our money back. And Marcy hasn't really been successful doing that. She hasn't been able to leverage her seniority to leverage more prosperity and economic growth and infrastructure dollars to Northwest Ohio. And I think when people realize that and we point out the facts, I think people are going to say, we've given you 41 years, let's give this other guy a chance.
Well, we certainly are glad that you are here, and we appreciate all that you've done for Northwest Ohio, our communities, and as time is wrapping up here, what word of encouragement might you share with our viewers?
Well, Jesus Christ has been my source of encouragement. Life is difficult. A lot of people have challenges. It's been a tough year for our family when we lost my dad. But Jesus Christ is faithful. Jesus Christ will be the best friend you ever have, and He's been faithful to me. And there's another life after this, and I've trusted Jesus Christ as my Savior. I encourage everyone here to find the truth and to look to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.
All right. Well, that is a good word. And when you are Congressman Merrin, will you come back and visit us
I
on
absolutely
Toledo
will.
Live?
I absolutely will.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Great
Appreciate
to
it.
have you.
Thank you, Derek.